everyone, and welcome to Answer the Call. What's up? Every
So,
week, there are so many updates. What's up, Croncy? How we doing?
a lot is up.
Yeah,
Sort
a
of as you
lot.
alluded to every week. It's been kind of nuts. We
Yeah,
we had the our first few episodes of this year were like, man, January January is always quiet, but it's feeling a bit quiet than normal. And it's like, oh well, this is why because they just got everything every week now.
yeah, yeah. I mean, well, I guess
Yeah.
we got to start out with hey, this is Answer the Call. It's a Star Citizen podcast with myself, Croncy, sometimes a guest, where you guys can call in and share with us your thoughts about what's been going on, about the certain topic that we're talking about this week. This week's a bit more general. A lot of the weeks have been general lately because there are
Mhm.
just so many updates, so we kind of feel like we got to talk about them, right? And
Yep.
this week was no exception. It just every week there seems to be a little bit of something. Like even last week, video content probably can be considered subpar. But then we had monthly report and roadmap roundup, which
Yep.
not subpar. And then this week, pretty good video content and a crazy
Mhm.
update about Evocati, and yeah, big event going on in the PTU. So lots to chat about today. So if you guys are
Yes.
interested in chatting about your experiences on any of those things, hop in the queue on Discord, discord.gg/SaltEMike, and let us know what you guys think. We're excited to hear from you. But
Mhm.
Croncy, what do you want to start out with? What's your highlight so far of this week? I guess.
I think we can probably go like timeline through the week. I think one of
Okay.
the first big ones was the Eva Cardi announcement. That was earlier
Yeah.
in the
Let's
week.
hammer that out.
So yeah, something that a lot of you will know Mike has been very excited for, and I think is going to be a really big deal, at least for sort of like the reporting of different news about patches and whatnot, is the Eva Cardi NDA has I'd say it's more altered rather than removed.
Yes. Definitely not
Because
removed.
yeah, yeah, definitely not removed. But people can talk about Evocati now. Um, and through clarification from Xylo, not only can they just talk about the patch notes, they can talk about their experiences in Evocati patches,
Yeah,
which
and
is a huge deal.
that was completely unexpected. So the
Yeah.
the first post was, "Hey, we will be just essentially posting the patch notes publicly,"
Hmm.
which is a big win. A lot of uh, leaks have basically started existing because of a number of things, but one of those was definitely like Evo having an NDA. The game
Yep.
is not open development anymore. People were frustrated, and then this stuff started to build up into people go to places and Reddit and all these places to find out what's going on all the time. And the Evo notes are posted within literally seconds of
Yep.
them being posted. So it made no sense. They were public anyway. Might as well do it yourself. You
Yep.
make it a little bit more difficult on those people and have a nice central place to inform your community. The big
Hmm.
deal for me and now us is that I felt that we had to suppress any comments
Yes.
about those
Yep.
things. So when people came in who were just fans of Star Citizen and wanted to talk about the game, were being banhammered and stuff by
Yeah. Yeah.
me, and it just was very frustrating to have to deal with. So just the original post was like a massive win to me. And then
Yeah.
Slidewug, who's here in chat, or was at least 5 minutes ago, makes a post and is like, "Hey, people are going to start asking us about our experiences though, and it's going to get really
Hmm.
awkward and weird." And Xylo's like, "Oh yeah, just like any of the content in the patch you can talk about."
Yep.
And then like this is kind of like a oh, like how like it just is like a joyous feeling because everybody who's
Hmm.
been leaking and using like content creator wise who's been using their channel to share leaks over all this time,
Yep.
hurting the developers of the company, getting people fired, all these things, right? The They no longer have the advantage anymore.
Yep.
It's like you ever play tennis where they're like, "Advantage, Michael." Yeah, well, it's advantage people who are in Evo now,
Yeah.
right?
Yeah.
Because now they
Yep.
can actually share their experiences. Of course, they can't show you anything, so it's really irrelevant anyway. But
I will disagree with you there, just because
a little bit, a
my
little bit.
biggest video on YouTube is me talking about and not showing a single bit of footage of the pyro playtest at CitizenCon. So there is value to be had there, and it is
Okay.
if it is the kind of information that people seek out, is those opinions on that kind of footage.
Yeah, I mean, I certainly
Um,
know people
yeah,
seek out opinions, right? Of
yeah,
it just
that's literally what we do.
yeah. So
This is actually the Answer the Opinion podcast.
kind of yeah.
Yeah.
So I mean,
But on
it's
the thing,
crazy. It's crazy though.
yeah.
Go ahead.
In addition, I'm not Evo, and I had always felt a lot of pressure to like suppress other people talking about Evo.
Yeah,
And
just
now
trying to
I
do
don't
the
have to
right
do that.
thing, right?
Exactly. And even I can now go to, some friends of mine who are in Evo, and I can be like, hey,
How
come
is
onto
it?
the stream. Let's talk about what you got to experience today. What's going on, right? And that'll be awesome. So I'm really excited for it.
Yeah, it just gives like the people the ability to do the just be normal and just talk about what's
Yeah.
going on with the game. Like it's just very weird that people weren't allowed to. And my favorite
Yeah.
part is let's go all the way back to like 318, guys. 318. I don't remember 318 Evo. Let's be clear, but we all remember 318 PTU being better
Yeah.
than. There was nothing worse in Star Citizen's history than 3.0 launch and 318 launch. So Evo could not have possibly been worse, right?
Yeah.
So we're even at a point where like the NDA of like showing stuff, it might not even be super relevant anyway, because sometimes live is worse than like you're not hiding your jank from anybody, CIG, okay? It's jank
Yeah.
no matter what patch you're in. So it doesn't really matter, but yeah.
Yeah.
Like I see somebody in chat say, why bother with the NDA at this point? Well, you got to read the post. I think it's very, very clear. What CIG wants to avoid is to avoid people outside of us seeing Star Citizen in a light that they don't want to show it in. Is that fair? Yep. You can argue yes or no. It does. I don't care personally. That's the way they want to handle that stuff, right? So they're going to put us under NDA because they don't want us to show the jank of Evo. But like I said, there's plenty of jank in the PU, so I don't know what they're hiding. But the idea of the whole reason for Evocati in the first place was to have incredibly focused testing with people who do good IC reports, with people who give good feedback. That was the point. And then it turned into more than that. And yeah, it just got silly. So hopefully this helps it, and hopefully this is just a better thing. But in general, it's a very happy time for me personally. I'm one of the few people who are a content creator and in Evo. So it affected me more than anybody else in a negative way before and in a positive way now. So, but yeah, I do find it funny the channels who have been kind of making a living in the dead times off of leaks. They're going to be less the go-to now than people that are actually in Evo, because we have more context to everything. So
new channel coming soon, SaltEMike Evo. Make sure you subscribe to it, guys.
Yeah, right. A whole channel dedicated to it. But I guess the best thing to jump into, because we're talking about PTUs, is we had, I think, 4 patches this week, all related to something I have unfortunately been able to jump into too much. I did phase 1 today and crashed, server crash going into phase 2. There's a new event that appears to be the Xeno threat thing that
Jared was talking about.
Jared was talking about. Thank you. Thank you. And
Jared mentioned there would be something before, like they have revamped Xenothreat for 323, or they've done something to Xenothreat for 323, but before that there will be something coming. This is that.
Oh, he said before that something would be coming.
He said before 323 there will be something for Xenothreat.
Okay.
Well, I think I have a theory. So we'll talk about it first.
This is 322.
So yeah, this is 322.1. The new dynamic event is essentially, it feels like a lead up. It's a mix of sort of like personal regular missions that anyone can have, but then also shared missions, as in similar to like in Wake of Disaster, where multiple people can have the one same mission at the same location.
Hold on, guys, I'm showing the wrong thing. Sorry.
It unfortunately does not involve any mining, if only.
Yeah, we'll get to that. It's a very minor thing. But...
Yeah. So there's a bunch of different missions. This one here is actually the final phase of the entire mission, of the set of missions, which is a delivery mission. That's a nice crotch shot there of someone trying to scare me. So this is the absolute final. That is the final phase. So it's hidden behind my head there, but you can see like there's like a bunch of information in the mission about like the Xenothreat have scattered, but they're up to no good.
Okay.
Um,
I'll try
so the
to
way it works,
go
yeah,
to the beginning if you want. I guess I had
yeah, all good.
the days
There's a
swapped.
Yeah, so there'll be a couple in here. There'll be the hacking mission. So you all might be familiar with the illegal hacking mission that like comes in waves, which is this one right here. You've got some like essentially bounty missions where you have to at the end collect a hacking chip and then deliver that. There are fleet missions where you have to fight off, and this is one of the ones which like shared, where multiple groups of people will be fighting off multiple hammerheads in this one area, and as long as you essentially get in that area before that finishes, you get credit.
Well, tell me about this since I'm
Yeah.
not familiar with. I think you did mention it. Is this the bounty mission? Intel Raid 4 out of
No,
5.
that is
Intel Raid is all hacking missions, but it's all of
yes.
like you go through the progression of what your reputation would get you in the hacking realm.
Yeah.
Okay, so
lawful Raid, hacking.
The Intel Raid is all hacking missions, but they get harder as you go. Cool.
Correct. Yeah, it's a bit of a grind. That's how all of them essentially work. Is you've got to do them multiple times, but they get harder as you go along.
Yep.
Similar to the way the progression would work in like regular reputation missions,
Cool.
which is one after the other.
Fair enough.
The big thing, first off, with these missions is a lot of them require, well, 100% require more than one person. So you do want to squad up for these. Awesome. I am a massive fan of us getting more content that requires multiple people. The other big thing, the second last mission, you have to do a raid at SPK. It's very similar to I don't remember the exact name of the mission, but when you just go in and you hack it and you're just fighting off defenders.
Okay.
But it is so much harder. So much harder. We couldn't finish that with 3 people on a server. We could not finish it. We just kept getting knocked. We got a Carrack out at the back and we were running out of armor and weapons. We just could not finish it. It was nuts. So proper hard. Unless of course, you get a garbage server. But it's kind of cool. The one thing that I don't really like about it is it does feel grindy. Like it's sort of like when you go in between phases, it does feel like you've unlocked something. But doing 5 of these missions or doing 5 of the bounty missions just gets really tedious. And okay, so isn't my favorite thing.
So just so I understand correctly, then there's 2 different paths to complete. One of them is a bounty style. Where does the bounty come into play?
You have to do everything. So you start off with the phase 1 missions.
Intel Raid.
Which I believe is Intel Raid.
Yeah.
Once you finish Intel Raid, you unlock the second phase of missions, which I believe the second phase is the like bounty-esque ones where you've got to collect the things. And then so on. Every time you complete a set of them, you then unlock the next ones.
Gotcha. So when you complete this, likely I would see maybe a bounty thing? Yeah, okay. Priority targets.
Yeah, there you go. Priority targets.
Gotcha. You're taking out a Valkyrie? Get out of town.
What do you got against the Valkyrie?
Nothing,
we had the crew for it. It's so much fun.
Nothing. Basically that is what I was expecting.
Oh, no, that's the Cutlass. Don't worry. That's the ship we destroyed.
I didn't, because not a lot of people fly the Valkyrie. So I just
it's got a lot of story to it, which is really cool, but I would love to see some voice lines or something just to give it a bit more of I don't know, it just make it feel a bit cooler. But
and they could do
in
that
general,
eventually,
big fan of it.
Right?
Yeah.
We're again, this is PTU or whatever, so we could test it and make sure it works because it largely hasn't worked.
It's had a lot of issues.
Week. It's had a lot of issues, right?
Yeah, it's mostly worked the last couple of days. But besides that, tons of issues. I mean, we had issues today. We tried to get the fleet version to work again. And it kept spawning in no ships, so no one could complete it. And then because that one is one that the entire server can do, it just sits there and does nothing. So tons of issues to be dealt with there. But the cool thing is, once it finishes, so if you're reading the mission text, once it finishes, it sort of alludes to the fact that the actual Xenothreat dynamic event will be happening soon. Right? So everything in these 6 phases is clearly a lead up to that. In addition, it looks like they're going to be moving Jericho, most likely, based on the mission text.
Okay.
It sounds like it's going to be moved to closer to the Stanton Pyro jump point. So,
that makes sense.
My prediction is I'll just hit my mic. All of this is a lead up to 4.0 and a lead up into like a like a pre-pyro dynamic event where, cool, at the end of it, now head into pyro so you can finish off Xeno Threat. It's giving that sort of vibe. It's giving the vibe of like when I used to play World of Warcraft and you would have a pre-expansion Legion event and you would just, fight all of these like waves of Legion demons and stuff that came down. Once again, sort of alluding to the fact that there was going to be an invasion.
So
Feels very much like that.
Do you think that you doing these pre-events will actually trigger the Xeno Threat? It can't, right? Because you're just one group of people. Everybody else is doing it. So it's this thing that is like, do more stuff, and then we'll still hit the green button at the time that we say we're going to hit the button.
I think so. I think so. That's how it feels. Yep.
Okay. It's cool though. And then
yeah,
the final mission was the one that I started with by accident. So
yeah, which is just we went to
collect some stuff.
A location. Yep, we went to a wreck site. Now there were like it wasn't just go pick up packages. There were like a decent amount of enemy ships, but we were in a Retaliator, so it wasn't like they weren't hammerheads. It was like a Reclaimer and a Valkyrie and something. So
okay,
yeah, it didn't take us long to take those down, but it's kind of cool. I'm curious though if all of these missions will ever come back or if this is going to be a one-time thing or what. I don't know. It feels strange. I'd love to hear more about it, and I assume they'll talk about it sometime soon on something, whether it's an ISC or whatever.
Yeah, you got to think. And then we also have this whole other dynamic event that's coming as well. Will they tie in this pre-stage to that as well? And how's that going to play out? I don't know, but it's definitely a lot. The thing is it's nothing new. It's just combining everything we have into one thing, essentially, right?
Yeah.
So you're not experiencing too much, but what you're kind of experiencing is maybe the like reputation grind of those mission types more quickly.
Mm-hmm.
And
sort of, yeah.
But
then also it is also just nice to see them take some pretty basic missions that we have right now, like a bounty mission, or a data heist mission or whatever, and just add something onto it, which is what they did in each one of these missions. Just made it a little bit deeper, and a little bit more enjoyable because you got more than one objective, I guess, over the course of it. So I like that they're at least exploring that.
Whoa, ammunition crate. Interesting.
Yeah, ammunition crate, medical crate, and I don't remember what the other one was. But
look at that.
We've never had supplies.
We've never had that thing to pick up before, so that's kind of cool.
Yeah, I think if I remember correctly, that's the same outside model that they used for the ammunition crates in the Pyro playtest, the ones that you could actually rearm from. But I would have to double check.
Yeah, you could be right. Cool. And I don't know. There's one other little thing from this week's PTU, and guys, I did it. I turned off the intro, so when we actually rotate,
we didn't
scenes,
go back to the intro.
We didn't go back to the intro scene. So the only other thing that I caught really from this week, and I don't know if you caught it, was a mining update. Did you see this?
I didn't see this, but I will have another thing after that I think you've forgotten about. But let's check out this mining update. I saw them say something about the inert material filtering is like renamed.
Oh yeah, that I think it was just on like when you go to buy the stuff in game. It's just like they changed the description a little bit. But this is actually okay. So you caught a little glimpse of it early because I accidentally showed it. But the idea here is that when you mine and you accidentally like overcharge a rock, it's supposed to create a force that actually knocks your ship around.
Well, they said they changed the knockbacks.
Yeah, but we never got a knockback. You just took damage, right?
No, we got knockbacks.
We never did.
We used to have. Yeah, no, for sure. There was tons of times where I would overload a rock and my prospector would get yeeted backwards or would blow up. It depends on the overdrive.
You're right. I remember, because one of my most popular clips of all time was rolling up to a guy on Yellow or something, and he overcharged his rock, and he went flying into space, and I just came in and scooped up all the rocks left and sold them.
Yeah. There was one patch where the damage was lower, but the knockback was higher. And so you would end up literally hundreds of kilometers away.
Yep. But look, this was the knockback in Friday's PTU.
Yeah.
So I don't think it made it in, or that comment was posted on Tuesday's PTU. I tested on Friday.
Right.
Something might have changed since then. So by
Okay.
Friday, it's not there, but yeah, I don't
We'll
know
see. They're obviously looking at it.
exactly. So what did I miss?
The thing that you missed was, but before we probably end up talking about ISC,
Yeah.
was another thing that I think may be possibly connected to them doing all these Xenothreat things, which was the CIG Idris stuff.
Oh yeah,
Yeah.
that's definitely
It could be
related
Ninetales
to
though. I
Xeno.
don't know. There's something, right? It's regardless. It seems like it's a test for something coming up, right? So,
I had a
yeah,
crazy theory. It's really it's now
do it.
stupid.
Go. No,
It's
go.
now stupid. It doesn't make any sense. For some reason, I thought that I forgot that we in Xeno you like load up the javelin, right? For some reason, I was
Yeah, yeah.
thinking it was the Idris, and I was like, okay, well, this Idris event, the Idris has an interior. So
Yeah.
are we loading up the Idris to take it out ourselves and use it against Xenothreat? Like,
I mean, that could be the change.
that
That
would
unironically could be the change.
how
That'd be
epic
sick.
would that be if the
Yeah.
dynamic event was the entire server coming together to crew an Idris? Right? Like that
Yeah.
was the thing that I had in my mind. Is like these guys had there's an interior to this thing. These guys are using it. Hannah's here. Hannah, do you mind if I show
Yeah.
your YouTube video of boarding the Idris? I might bring
Also,
it up if she's cool with it.
also that wasn't their plan until you just set up Mike, and so now the dynamic event has been delayed 3 months.
Yeah. That's true. Sorry, guys, but yeah, no. Like I was thinking that would be it, but you
Yeah.
might be right. Or there's like everyone's like, oh, platinum ticket
Yeah, yeah.
because there
I
was
don't think
CIG
I don't
crewing
think platinum
in.
ticket for Idris.
Why
Maybe
not?
platinum ticket for something else. I wouldn't think for Idris
Why not? I
because you
think
don't
that
need
would be
because
amazing.
you can just buy it anyway. Oh wait, no,
Yeah.
platinum ticket is when you just get one.
Yeah. Think about how cool that would be.
That'd
Getting
be
an
dope.
Idris in game. That would be so sick, right?
Platinum ticket for it. Yeah, that'd be pretty dope. I will say they the Idris is supposed to be ready, right?
Mm-hmm.
And I mean they were running it this week, so presumably it is. And they mentioned originally, although I won't be able to find the text for it, and if it was longer than 4 years ago, I don't care, and I think is irrelevant. But they had
Yes.
mentioned the Idris would come out with Squadron, right?
Yeah.
As in, like, would come to Star Citizen
Just like
when
the
Squadron
F8,
releases.
right?
Yeah. I wouldn't be surprised if it comes out a little earlier than that. I do think right now would still be too early just in terms of server size. But other than that, it could make sense. So yeah, here you go. This is the hangar of the Idris, and Hannah doing an amazing job of absolutely crushing everyone,
Yes.
both devs and other players in the Idris. But it's super cool. It looks like it's fully modeled. The NPCs are working, the turrets are working, all that sort of stuff. As far as I'm aware, because I got some like information afterwards, they weren't able to like fully crew the Idris afterwards because they essentially CIG shut off the server once it had once everyone had sort of claimed it.
Yeah, that seems
yeah.
to be a common theme.
Yeah.
Is like, okay, we'll let you pop on the ship, but we won't give you much time with it.
Mm.
So
yeah. So I wonder if that's maybe just either not prepared for testing or I don't know, could cause tons of issues because I don't know why they wouldn't let people maybe just fly it around a bit. And the big thing for me is like trying to see if we can get the player turrets to work and how they work on the Idris and whatnot.
Mm-hmm.
But they're testing it for something. They're not doing. I don't think this would be a very weird thing for them to do for no reason other than just fun.
Yeah.
So yeah, lots of speculation to be had there.
Exactly. So I mean, we know that the Idris is part of the Xenothreat event. So
Yep.
Yeah. This is how I learned how to reload cancel, by the way, was this video. So thank you for that one, Hannah. I used it today and it helped me out. But it's very, very interesting. It's huge, but it's tight. It feels like a submarine, right? I like it. Like we've never really had a look at the Idris in this way ever before.
Yep.
Like this is capture the Idris. Like, ooh,
yeah,
capture the Idris. Arena Commander game mode. But then again, the Arena Commander team is on the PU. That was always supposed to be a thing.
Well, features features part of Arena Commander Team is on the PU. Maps and like special events and stuff are still happening. We know that engineering is still making its way to Arena Commander, right? So that sort of stuff I think still will likely happen.
Yeah.
And what did they not mention something in a monthly report or an ISC or an SEL sometime recently about the Idris being like there being an Idris mission of some variety? I may be misremembering.
We have them now.
No, I
So,
mean like boarding Idris mission, like NPC boarding Idris mission. There was
oh,
something I
maybe.
think I might be misremembering. Someone might have just said something on Twitter that I'm remembering or something. I don't know, but there's something in my memory about that.
Yeah, perhaps. The ending to this is epic. So I'm
Yep.
leaving it on until we see the ending. It's such a
None
good
of them
ending.
watch. It just unloads as no one watches.
So Hannah dies, but
Yeah.
then like you're like, oh, damn, we don't get to see her, and then she gets revived, and then look,
Yeah.
there's all the lads. Everybody's there, ready to party.
Everyone's getting in their seats already.
Yeah,
Everyone's ready.
how awesome is that? So really, really cool video. I linked it in chat.
Yep.
We'll put it in the description of the video as well on YouTube for you guys. Okay. I'll head over there and actually post it in YouTube chat right now as well. But
So yeah, super
yeah.
cool. It feels good to see someone finally actually running around there.
Yes.
Yeah.
So yeah, awesome. Yeah, I can't believe I forgot about that because that obviously was a huge deal. But the
It's because we didn't get to experience it, Mike. So who cares?
True. Oh no. Hold on, I gotta bring up that for you. There you go. Next, I guess would be ISC, right?
Yeah.
So ISC was pretty sweet. The distribution centers look cool, but
Yep.
I think they both sound like they are setting expectations and trying to keep them at a reasonable level, and they're also freaking people out a little bit. So it's up to you what you wanna start out with, but I definitely think I've seen some people quite concerned about some of the things they said on this week's ISC.
Yeah, people are scared. The first thing, the aesthetics are amazing. Each one that they showed does look like it at least has like its own little brand of stuff. Like the Microtech one that was there was appropriately icy and felt very cold, but had some really, really cool like refining gas pipes and stuff coming out of it. It looks like an amazing place to traverse as well. So like depending on how the missions end up going there, how many enemies, etc., looks like there's no limit to how differently you can approach them. They do appear to have turrets, so if you are, if you have negative rep or whatever it might be, that defense is active there. So it looks like there's going to be times where you're going to have to bring in like road vehicles, which is also awesome because they have little roads around them, only around them, very small, but they are there. So they look fantastic, which is great.
Yeah.
They also, this is really cool. The like maintenance shafts that they have. So they've put a lot of, they've put probably the most amount of actual like game level design into these than they have for any other location in the game.
In the PU for sure. Yeah.
Yeah. So that's fantastic. The thing that's getting everyone scared is, so they talk about how there's multiple different missions that'll happen here. And this was actually one of the examples they used, where you may go in there for a delivery mission, but Billy might be over here to do an assassination mission, or Steve might be there to do a bombing run or something, right? That can come up is what they said. They didn't go into many specifics.
Also, pyro bombing run in Stanton.
Yep.
So
yeah, pretty much. So the question is, well, like how much interaction is there going to be between the players? Their big focus was like, it's going to make it not feel lonely. There's going to be other things happening there, right?
Yeah.
But people started to complain about, well, if someone's doing a PvP mission there and I'm doing a PvE mission there, that's bad and not good. And there's two things I want to bring up about that. One, they said that some of these locations you will be able to do multiple missions at a time. Now, at CRG, that could still mean all, the way that they talk, but that is something. The second thing is, that's okay as long as the PvE missions are like like you get enough money for them. There is a very common thing in MMOs to go do PvE content in PvP areas, but you just get rewarded higher for that risk, right?
Yeah, well, I also
So
see like a comment in Twitch
yeah,
chat. They didn't exactly say that any of these missions would be PvP, right? You were just
yeah, they
every
just said
example they
lawful or
gave
unlawful.
exactly, and they were always
Yeah.
going against NPCs. It looked like, but the
Hmm.
opportunity would be there for players. And the thing is that I
Yep.
think what people have experienced over the years is that anytime I interact with another player that I don't know in the game, it's a bad experience, and that's basically what
Mm.
has happened for the most part. There are very few examples in my experience where it hasn't been a kill on sight situation if I was in an area that wasn't an armistice zone with another player that I
Hmm.
didn't know, right?
Yep.
And a lot of the time it wasn't me shooting first; it was me trying to voice comms don't work or whatever, right?
Yeah. Yeah.
So
With that, there's
that's what people are
another
worried
two
about.
things. Yeah, there's another two things that could change that. So this is obviously slated for 323. One of the other things that is slated for 323
I'll
is
try to
reputation
pause on.
hostility.
Yeah, I'll try to pause on what you're talking
Yep.
about here.
Um, I actually don't remember the other thing I was going to talk about, but reputation hostility. Oh no, I do remember. Will come into that hopefully, possibly. Um, but also, I will just say, if you are doing a hostile mission versus a non-hostile mission, you're inevitably going to get a bounty. Now it's a PvP mission. You have a
Could
bounty
be.
on
Yeah.
you. It is now a PvP mission, right? So I think it does still apply there.
What do we think this is? There's been
Oh yeah, yeah,
little
yeah.
speculation about this. We've seen it red. We've seen it yellow. It had
It has
four.
6 bars
Yeah,
total, and then yeah,
and it's got the Hurston Dynamics logo. The people that these guys are attacking are Hurston Dynamics
yeah,
armor. So it does feel like it is a version of the crime stat system, but only for those people. And I'm
possibly.
curious how long it'll maintain.
The only reason I don't think it's crime stat is there's an image of someone doing a loyal mission, and they have that at like level 5.
Okay.
Not loyal mission, a legal mission. But also,
Yeah.
this would be in the test servers. They could give themselves CS6 if they wanted, and no one would shoot them, right? So
Yeah.
um,
What do you,
I'm not sure. I think it might be
what do you think of the
rep
party
related,
marker?
possibly. Oh, I didn't notice the party marker, bro. That's high
Yeah.
pass.
Yeah. I think it's a little big, but outside that, it's pretty sick.
I think that's fine.
Looks better, and it's yellow.
I know, we'll see. Yeah, much easier to see.
So yellow's interesting. Hopefully, we start to maybe see org mate colors, or
Hmm.
like we start getting into those opportunities. Hopefully soon.
Could be tied to helmet as well. Because the other thing that
Could be.
we were saying on our chat is that bar in the bottom left may be in relation to some sort of power that the helmet has or that your undersuit has. And that's also why it's got the Hurston Dynamics logo, is because I believe they have a helmet set, if I'm not mistaken.
Okay.
So it could be a relation to that. Just then as well, you saw it disappear, and it said it displayed the person's health,
Yep.
and their like injuries. So not sure what that could be.
I cannot wait
yeah.
for cargo missions. Oh
I,
my god.
you want to talk about, speaking of something that I had somehow completely missed? When did they make the raft able to do this? I was watching this on stream,
A patch or two ago?
freaking out that the raft like cargo was working. Everyone's like, Croncy, it's been there for a while now.
Yeah. Like 320?
Ugh, jeez.
Yeah. It's been a long time, but
I haven't taken my raft out in a bit.
oh, what do you think about this? I thought this was
Oh, yeah.
hilarious. That
Yep.
like who's gonna want to do this besides me was what I thought.
Oh, there's people.
Oh,
we
yeah.
talk about it all the time, right? There's
Yeah.
definitely people who want to do this. But not to mention, I mean, you're going to use that if you're doing like a stealing mission here too. You need to get them out some way. That's going to be easier than carrying box per box. So
Yeah.
yeah. What's that called? The trolley,
Yeah.
the hover trolley or whatever.
I don't know how I feel about this thing still. I think this is one of the stupidest things I've ever seen.
I think it's good.
I think
It's
like,
a solution to a problem.
not a. I don't know if it's a good one, but
I mean, yeah, preferably you wouldn't be carrying 5 1SCU boxes, right? You would be carrying a larger box by yourself or something.
yeah, you would be
But
carrying a 4
when
and
that
a 1.
comes in, like you're not bringing a
It's in
Hercules down
Croncy.
here, right? So, but
The
yeah, it
thing
is. It's in. It's
And
in.
that is my one gripe about these locations. Why
Yep.
are they working in 1 SCU containers? So you can tell they
yeah, no,
started
it's
this
weird.
thing 2 years ago
Yeah.
because they're working on like this. This happens from time to time where like a team is working on something and other updates happen, and it
Hmm.
changes what they could do. So it's yeah. So this is what I find funny. I will still be doing this. It's just funny,
Yeah.
and the whole thing is funny because you can always go to the like 1,000 years in the future, guys. Currently, we don't push our own fucking forklifts. But this one I'm going to be pushing. It's
Yeah, we do.
goofy.
There's push forklifts. I used to
Okay.
use one.
Yes. Like one of the like you it's like
Yeah, push one. Yeah.
yeah.
And you just use
I
it to
forgot the
move
name of
stuff
it.
around. Yeah, you just use
Pallet
pallet jack.
jacks.
Thank you.
Yep.
Yeah, you just use it to move stuff around. This is the
Come
exact same
on.
thing. When you
Come
don't need to use your
on.
tractor beams, Mike.
Nobody's using a pallet jack for this bit.
Look.
This is a forklift. Okay, this how about this? The mule is a 1/8
Mule
the
can't move
size
as
of
many
this.
boxes.
Exactly. The mule's a
Yeah.
forklift. It's 1/8 the size of this. This is larger than a forklift. Why is it acting like a pallet jack? If we're going to go ahead and talk about real life examples.
This can't move. Well, no, that's the thing. The mole has, sorry, the mole. The mule has a bonus of being able to travel faster than 2 meters a second. So that's the
Exactly.
bonus that the mule gets.
This thing is
This
so
gets
stupid.
nerfed because of that.
Just let me drive
Nah.
it and then we're cool. Just let me drive it and we're cool. The fact that I push
New-
it is so ridiculous.
New arena commander race coming soon.
Yes. That is my only gripe. I just want to drive it. Pushing it is the dumbest thing, I think. That's just me. But yeah.
I think. Oh no, they'll probably come up with some law for it, but I don't think it's quite like properly pushing. I think it's more guiding. But I mean, I'm not going to get into the semantics of actions.
I think you can still see
yeah.
that I'm like, I think this is goofy.
Yeah, for sure.
It's goofy. That's all I'm saying.
Yeah. Do you think they're going to sell a skin for it?
Well,
I
okay.
really want them to. I don't want them to
that
sell it as a
assumes that
pledge, but I want a skin for it.
Then how do you get it? Just in game?
Well,
Will
weapons
this
have
be
skins.
Will
right,
this be
so-
the first? Well, no, but because the weapon skins are, I guess you find them in
Sure,
the
but I'm
loot
saying
table,
like
but
you know what I mean. Like it would be cool if I could get one of those with a weird skin on them.
yeah.
Just like weird mundane things.
How
like that.
about that be the first vehicle that they sell for in-game credits exclusively?
Yes,
And it's like sort of a
Please.
vehicle. I'll take it.
please.
But yeah.
I will also mention just one thing you said before. They mentioned that there are both hangars and landing pads at these
Yes.
locations.
Big deal.
So I also fully expect them to have freight elevators, the hangars.
Does that hangar have an
yeah.
instance hangar? I certainly hope so. The whole point of the instance hangar is that you're able to take your time and load your
If it has a
cargo.
freight elevator, it would have to, right? Because that's
maybe.
essentially other. Oh
I'm
no, maybe it
assuming.
doesn't have to.
We don't really know. We won't know
Because I
until
guess
we
the
try
freight
it.
elevators that they showed on the sneak peek are just like out there.
Yep.
So they're certainly not instance. Yeah.
Also, are you buying the sneaky stealthy missions with the AI that we currently have?
With the AI that I had 2 days ago, yes.
Well, no, they attacked you, right?
Yeah, but they were fully reacting to sound and sight. They were fully reacting to sound and sight. But that's the eternal problem with SC until all server issues get fixed.
Yeah.
So I think it'll happen.
Like 4 types of missions. Yeah. I don't know how.
I think people will just run through the middle anyway.
Exactly.
For the most part, until the servers actually become a problem. Yeah.
Yeah. That's it. So it's interesting. I think it'll be really cool. I think people are freaking out a little bit. And it's gonna happen. Especially if cargo missions are good here. We got a lot to figure out with like what cargo. We need to hear a lot more about what cargo is going to look like and be in 323 because it's changing so fundamentally in so many ways. Yeah. We have an economy team that we know has changed cargo commodity prices. I don't know if that change exists in any public servers that exist right now. I mean, there's no Evo patch currently, but I'm curious what that might look like when 323 drops. I'm curious what and exactly how the instance hangars feel at these locations or in general and possibly at these locations if they're there. So yeah, it's they're distribution centers, so they largely should be cargo related. So I'm very excited as somebody who definitely enjoys that style of game. To see what this ends up being.
I am super excited for an eliminate all at one of these locations. and hopefully like a hard one that I have to bring some friends in for because it looks like, once again, just looks like fun level design to actually run around. So
Yeah.
yeah.
It's a good question from Chad. How many frames do you think we'll get there? Because even they look like they were quite low on their servers. So
Not to mention, yeah, with new UI and new location and new assets and
new.
insert all the other new stuff that's coming at the same time. Yeah, we're like PTU Wave 1 is going to be a
A
slideshow, I
disaster.
think.
Yeah. Yeah. At least 1 FPS. Yeah. There you
Oh,
go.
hell yeah. Well, it'll only, someone else said more than Ghost Hollow, as long as it doesn't have fire. Because for some reason, that's the problem at Ghost Hollow. It always goes low FPS because of the fire that's there.
Mm,
But
mm,
anyway,
yeah. But I mean, honestly, as far as updates this week, that was for the most part it. Star Citizen Live
yeah.
was largely reiterating what they've already spoken about EVA
hmm
and um
Yeah. Some very small clarifications on like how some animations are going to work.
yeah,
But
and that
nothing huge.
like eventually backpacks are gonna have an impact, and certain
hmm
armors will have an impact, and like down the line we want armors to be specialized. EVA armor
Yep.
will be a thing. They are going to allow you to toggle off the F key icon, but not toggle off what it does. So for like
Yeah.
machinima people, but
Yeah, that
outside that,
information still comes up.
that's really it. But it was still a juicy week where I am so excited to just start testing. I'm so excited to start seeing how it feels and just be like,
Yep.
oh, I like this is fun or this isn't. And most of that stuff's related around cargo. But now
Mm.
even this little tiny mining update is like, oh, are they thinking about mining still? What are they doing? Big cargo update. Are they thinking about mining and cargo again? Because we have lots of issues with that.
Mining missions, please.
Well, I think if we
Bring
had
them
mining
back.
missions, they would be yelling from the rooftops about them. So
Yeah, true.
and we haven't seen that yet. But I don't know. I
Yep.
think that's kind of it for me. Do you want to go to some callers? Are you ready for callers,
Yeah.
or is there anything else you are we're dying to talk about?
No, that was pretty much all this week. So yeah, let's get Mr. Expendable in here. And
Mm.
I mean, yeah, we talked about this. There's a lot of updates every week, and we just went over a lot of topics. So it's going to
Oh,
be like that every week. It feels like.
you know what? I don't have it queued up, but before we
hmm
bring him on, we did have a sneak peek, and it was of the item bank. And the only
Oh
thing I
yeah,
want to
yeah.
call out from that is that the item bank did not appear to be in the hangar.
Let me get it up.
It was at I'll try and grab it as well. It was at Microtech.
Mm-hmm.
Here I have it. It was at
Oh
Microtech,
yeah.
and
That
it
could be in the hangar.
well, look what's sitting right in front of you. There's a big ass in front of your face, right? And that's
You
an
know, I
NPC
can't see
ass.
anything right now. Oh, there we go. There we
There's
go.
an NPC ass right in front of your face. NPCs don't hang out in your hangars
Oh,
typically.
on the seat. Yeah. No, you're right.
Does it
Uh,
matter? No.
hmm.
Just it sounded like it was a part of your hangar, and it
Yeah.
doesn't appear to be. So this is where you'll get like collect your armor, weapons, and stuff like that. But they're supposed to go to your freight elevator. So how's
Yeah.
all
Well,
that
that's what
work?
I wonder.
Just curious.
Would you assume because of the different size of hangars, would you assume that there's probably different size freight elevators? Because that could be why.
Maybe.
Is that you you load up whatever you want into the thing, you send it off, it starts to get delivered, then it tells you what size hangar to go to essentially, or something. That could be a reason, I guess.
Yeah.
Or they just want it, or they just want to do it this way so that you don't get the hand wavium. Right, like you do it in this location, it loads in as you're heading to the elevator, and you like head over there, and then there's no issues with asset loading or something like that. Could be the case.
Drawer at the bottom is partially open. I don't think armor fits through that drawer though.
Yeah, no, I don't think that's anything. I think that's just
Just visual.
just what it looks like. Yep.
Yeah. Exactly. So just figured I'd
Oh wait, no. Go back. They're
going
right.
back.
They're actually so right. Um, if you look at the drawer on the left one, it is completely flush up against the thing. And then if you look at the one that the person's standing in front of, yeah, it is. It's got a shadow. It's been pulled out. So there's storage coming out of it. It seems.
Oh, so okay, so it'll open and it'll create a magic inventory that we can pull from.
Yes, I would assume that's what it's doing.
Yeah,
Yeah.
you'll click it and it'll open like a holographic box and we'll grab stuff from there. Okay.
Yeah.
Cool. I don't see anything on the left side though. I don't know how you see
No,
that.
so if you look at next to the guy's leg, just under where your cursor is or was, where the drawer would be on the left one. So you've got the two consoles, you've got a person standing in front of the right one, and there's a console on the left one. If you look at that drawer is flush up against the
Yeah. I see it. It's flush here, but then this one
it's
is
actually
not.
been pulled out. Yeah.
And look, it says
So
pull.
they were for sure right. It does say pull.
Yeah. And again, Microtech symbol, so you know where you are. And blue Microtech. But again, the NPC there tells me that this is probably near the ASOP terminal.
Yep. It'll either be spaceport. I guess theoretically it could be like based on where it looks like it could be in the where the stores are at Microtech, but I would imagine it'd be at the spaceport. So it's where it makes the most sense.
Yeah.
Or it could be at the hubs. Could be at the bottom at the hubs. There'll be another place that would make sense for them to be.
Yeah. I don't know. Cool. Yeah, nice. So that's really it. We can jump into callers now, but I just wanted to make sure I pointed that out because it was like, oh, interesting. All right, so let's bring in Mr. Expendable.
How you doing?
Yo. I heard you try to talk.
There we are.
There we go. Okay. Well,
Hello.
silence before, so pull the trigger on that right at the right time, I guess.
All right, what would you like to talk about?
So, we're talking about features. I was very curious about CitizenCon features compared to features that Jared mentioned first half of this year in like the last ISE of 2023, and then set for 323. So I went and whipped up a really quick spreadsheet, and what I found was very interesting.
We're prepared. Here we go.
Well, okay, so last
Mike, I brought my
week,
homework with me today.
I know, right? The guy last week, I don't remember his name, unfortunately, wrote some stuff down, and he was the best caller by far. So I figured I'd copy him.
Nice, good idea.
So,
good idea. Chat, take notes.
So I'll go ahead and list it. Yeah, so I'll go ahead and list it all out, and if I'm wrong, let me know. But I'm pretty certain I'm good here. So the first list is at CitizenCon, but we haven't seen it anywhere else. The second list is mentioned by Jared first half of the year, but is not set for 323, as we know. And then the last list is set for 323. The longest list by far is the last one, which is very interesting. So
and the last one as in 323.
Set for 323.
Cool.
So at CitizenCon, so basic stuff that we know is not coming anytime soon: server meshing, pyro, base building, raids, maelstrom. Very interesting here for this one. Oh, by the way, this is PU only, so I'm not caring about PTU or all that stuff.
Tech demo, or tech preview.
Very interesting. I thought was interesting. Engineering. We have not heard anything about that recently, so that's in that first column.
Yeah, they've touched on it, but it's been like, it's not coming 323.
Exactly.
And the first thing we're going to see is in Arena Commander, because you said PU only, right? So
yes, PU only. So new quantum travel, quantum boosting, new gangs and armor. That's in this column because we have seen it a little bit, but we haven't seen it fully. Control
definitely
surfaces.
Not the way they communicated it.
Exactly, right? Yeah. And then this is in every single category. Reputation.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah. Because there'll be different variations of them.
Yeah. Mentioned by Jared first half of this year, there's only 3 things: weapon wear and tear, FPS scanning radar, and reputation. That's it. That's all we have that Jared mentioned that isn't in 323. So set for 323.
Nice.
Master modes. All or staggered. I wanted to make a mention of that because that's something he mentioned in the video, that it could be all at once or staggered. Personal persistent hangers, new mobi glass, star map, character creator, EVA movement, FPS takedowns with a question mark because of what we saw in the last ISC.
And not listed on 323.
There's no listing for it.
Yeah.
But
which could be the kind of feature that doesn't get its own like card and stuff, which is why it hasn't been listed.
How would it know?
I wouldn't be surprised.
It's the first
because compare that to all of the other features that are listed. It's not as it's not as present.
They're putting
I guess.
That card. I think it's probably just a 324 thing.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. So here's a key factor here, and I'm going to stop on this one. Reputation hostility, only hostility. So one thing I was thinking about is we were talking about that little bar with the Hurston Dynamics and the little
Mhm.
like the little 5 little blitz. Maybe that only goes down. You were talking about how a lawful player had full 5. It could only go down,
Ooh.
and going down
It's
means you're
red
doing
because they're
worse.
hostile to you.
Mm-hmm.
So your
Yeah,
hostility, so the hostility goes down. So you start at hostile.
Or you
Well,
start
you
at
start
But in
at-
neutral.
that
you
case,
start
you
at
may start at
good.
hostile, and then it goes down to yellow, and then it goes down to whatever.
Yeah, so who knows?
Possibly. That could
Distribution.
be interesting.
Yeah, distribution centers, freight elevators, player interaction, SPS UI, loot screens, FPS map, cargo missions, scopes and crosshairs, which they did mention, and replication layer with a big
Mhm.
question mark next to it.
Big question mark right now, for
Yep.
sure.
Yeah. So, 2 things I wanted to mention. These are notes. For the Jared video, Alpha 4.0 summer 2024. Looking at this list, if they were gonna do a 324, it's gonna be barren. So who knows? I'm not saying summer 2024. I have no expectations, but you know, a barren 324 would be kind of strange.
I-
The last note before I give it over to you
Yeah.
guys to talk about what I just said: no economy anywhere.
I hate when
mention,
people
no
say
talk.
that. That's
Yeah, once
I
again, no
hate
economy
when people
card,
say that.
but like the economy team are doing stuff. They've even mentioned they are doing stuff for 323.
Yeah, and
Um,
it's about cleaning up the 10 years of ignoring the economy. That's what they have to
Yeah.
do first before they can actually make your economy. So to say they're doing nothing is so like just a bad way of looking at it because they are doing
Okay,
exactly
well,
what
let
they
me
need to
reword.
do.
Yeah. Well, let me reword it. No economy, new stuff, just stuff that needs to happen.
No Tony
Don't
Z,
I
no
100%.
dynamic, none
Yeah.
of that
Yeah.
stuff,
Yeah.
obviously.
Exactly.
I will also say, like, with the context of what you said, assuming no new features, the 324 would look barren in comparison to 323. But I feel like we're going to have a lot of patches that are going to look like that in comparison to 323, assuming they get these features in. Because,
Yeah.
of course, this is the most amount of features that at least I've ever experienced in a single patch. It's kind of crazy, right?
I think the point
yeah.
that he's saying there that I think that I want to dive into is that
Mhm.
these are all features that they worked on for years in Arena Commander, and they're coming in and they're more
Mhm.
polished and so on and so forth. And the CIG is kind of setting themselves up for failure already because you see how he immediately was like, well, and then 324 is barren. All right, bro, we haven't even seen a PTU for 323 yet.
Yeah.
Calm down, first
No,
off.
that's fair.
Second, yeah, you're right. But you can't, I don't think it's healthy to set CIG's new baseline at 323. I think
Well, wouldn't you rather have a barren 324?
Why would I ever want to barren
think-
anything?
Well, think about it this way. If they said, okay, our 323 is so big, we got to remove stuff and put it into 324, that's kind of shitty on their end. And they've never done that. There's a lot you can say about CIG, but I've never, ever seen them hold a feature back because they wanted to make the next patch better.
No.
Right?
Well,
Have they held
they've
stuff-
never publicly said that, but it doesn't mean they've never necessarily done that. I don't think they have. I just want to make that point because
Yeah,
that's
me too. I don't know
relevant
where
part of
that's
it.
coming from. If you thought that that's what I was saying, that's not what I'm saying.
No, I agree. I want you guys to understand that when I said barren 324, it was not a knock against CIG.
Yeah,
My
yeah.
point that I was- my point that I
I'm not
was
saying that's what
making
you were
is
saying.
that my
I
point
was.
that I was making
Oh.
is that if we're looking at a 323 release in quarter
Mm-hmm.
2, right before summer, basically, a Alpha 4.0 could theoretically happen sooner than we expect.
I
Yeah,
think
I
think we have a replication layer that needs to work
Yeah.
very much better than it currently has before we ever even think about that. 4.0 is the reason that the number changes because it's a monumental tech change. Doesn't matter the amount of features we're getting in 323. They are irrelevant to anything related to 4.0. None of that stuff matters. That's why we have a tech preview channel now because they never delivered on the tech to get it done. And that's why we have 23 patches of 3.0, guys. Who thought when 3.0 launched we would be at 323 and 324? We would be talking. Nobody on those days ever thought we would be saying those numbers. That's insane, right? Nobody thought that stuff. So
4.0 coming out after 3.9. Let's go.
exactly, like that was sort of the expectation for everybody. So, things didn't work out well in some regards of these. I'm not going to make any claims about 4.0 until I see a replication layer that doesn't take 15 minutes to get us, get a server back up and running.
Yeah.
Come on.
What I will say that everything that you said, Mr. Expendable, that you've got in your spreadsheets is a really good supporter though for like something we were talking about last week, where like there feels like there's a bit of a change of tone from CIG, and them being able to so far support those claims. We've still got to wait for a 323 PTU and live patch, and presumably .x patches first. But like I for sure, when they said last year these features are coming in the first 6 months, or whatever the exact like wording was, I literally said no shot.
Yeah.
Like I'm usually pretty positive about the game, but I was like, you are 100% overestimating here. And then they said, yeah, well, you know what, Croncy, you're wrong. Here's all the things coming into 323 that we're trying to get into 323.
They're trying still, yeah.
Yeah.
We got to see that.
And the only thing we're missing. Yeah, and the only thing we're missing is weapon wear and tear, FPS scanning radar, and I said reputation, but that doesn't really count. That's two
like
things.
different layers of reputation.
Yeah.
And I can live with that.
Just to touch on this a little bit, I think the patch that if we're going to determine CIG's like cadence and pace and what it's like to have Squadron 42 devs move over and have a lot more people focused on the PU rather than Squadron, it's not going to be. You cannot judge 323. You have to judge the patches after that to see if it actually worked successfully, right? So I wanted to like piggyback off of some of the things that you're saying and make sure that comment rings really loud and clear to people, because if we're setting the bar at 323, I don't think that's fair to CIG by any means. And CIG hasn't been fair to us, but in every case. But I think we should be fair to them in this one, where we should not be setting the bar at 323 because they literally gave us nothing in 317, 318, 319, 320. It was a very slow drip there for obvious reasons, because they didn't deliver us these features in a crappier state than they're planning on giving them to us in 323.
And my point, another point that I made with making this list is that we're seeing that this is I feel like 324 is everything that we can quickly move from CitizenCon, or not from CitizenCon, but from Squadron is going in 323, and then they're going to go back to almost normal after that. Because guess what? All the easy stuff is in there now. If I work on a project and I could carry over a bunch of it to the new project, and then I'm back to normal. Like you're not gonna have the expectation that I'm gonna be able to work faster just because I was able to copy and paste.
I'm just hoping there's a new normal, but I don't know how. I don't think the new normal is 323.
Yeah, no.
I 100% agree. I'll be honest with you though. My biggest thing I wanted to point out. Well, Croncy, go ahead and talk because I'm about.
I was just gonna say because it is sort of on what you were mentioning. How many of the features that you like in your spreadsheet, how many of those features that aren't slated for 323 are from Arena Commander? Sorry, from Squadron. From Squadron.
Let's see. Master modes, Obi Glass, Star Map.
No, that aren't in 323.
Aren't
slated for 323.
So the only ones I'm looking at would be maybe Maelstrom, maybe Engineering, maybe Quantum Travel. I don't know. You guys would have to help me out on that. Control surfaces.
Okay.
Weapon wear and tear. Maybe I don't know if that's in the base game. FPS scanning. Okay, FPS scanning and radar.
FPS scanning should be there.
Yeah, that's pretty much it. It's a pretty compared to what we're actually. That might sound like a lot, but compared to what we're actually getting, that's a pretty short list.
Some of the interactions, like maybe moving the circular thing.
There's presumably more stuff that isn't on any of the lists as well. That's from Squadron that's still coming over. The reason I just brought that up is because, like those features, I think are still more likely to arrive post 323 maybe not in the 6 months, but sometime close, that sort of once again supports that whole ideal. I mean, this will be the first time where we get major features from Squadron put in the game for since a very long time. Because I think the last time they were working on features simultaneously for Squadron and Star System was like 2020 or 2021. It was quite a few years ago. And so depending on how that implementation goes, that supports those other features going in quicker as well. So
Yeah,
exactly.
That's all I wanted to mention. Yep.
Yeah. So I don't know how much time I have left, but I want to bring up
make
a
your
thing.
last point. That's what. Just
So
it's been
last
a little
point, just biggest surprise for me was engineering being really not heavily mentioned for PU stuff, because we had seen it earlier. We had talked about it. That was one of the first things we saw outside of it's like after CitizenCon, and the first thing that was like, oh, this looks like it's ready. Like we could get this soon, and it being so disconnected. Obviously, I'm hoping for it to be sooner, but who knows? I think that pretty much covers it. I really felt like this was a good thing, so maybe
you
I'll
really
do it
felt
next time.
engineering was ready?
No, well, I felt like we had seen it more, and they were going to be like, "Oh, hey, here it is in the release view, and we're going to keep mentioning it and talking about it because it's such a big deal." It does feel like recently it's kind of fallen off a little bit. Like it hasn't been as much of a focus, because for me, it's the biggest
it's not
deal.
in 323.
Right?
Well, first
I
off,
would
they
say
said it
yeah.
was in 324 or the Q2. That's what they were aiming for. So there's really no reason to jump into those conversations when you have an entire 323 patch to focus your content on.
Yeah, that's very fair.
It's not a big talk for the first couple of weeks of this year.
But it's not going to be in the PU.
We'll hear about it at some point.
Yeah, I just don't expect
it's
it.
not going to be in the PU.
Because you have a team.
We haven't even tested it yet.
Yeah, there's so many things that they got to do in terms of all the ships related to this, right? It would be crazy to have some ships with engineering, some ships without it. It would just be weird. So I don't know what their plans are, but to expect it in 324 even might be a little bit of a stretch, but we'll see. Because they really set the expectations of like, we're putting a lot of work on these teams. We don't want to put any more work on them the last time they discussed it. So we'll see. We'll see. But, dude, thank you for your call. Thank you for taking notes and being prepared.
Yeah.
It was fun.
I liked the conversation. It was a little bit of a hot seat, but I liked it because I felt like that was a better conversation. And I'll see you guys next time.
Yeah, I
Sounds
appreciate you can handle it, because some people get upset with when we give you guys a little heat.
Yeah. Well, I'll die on the hill even if I'm not supposed to. So I'll let you guys go. And
you come in with a hot take, you gotta expect some heat. All right, bro.
Yeah.
Cheers,
All right,
mate.
bye.
Catch you up. Bye. All right, and our next guest is Lightsmith.
Lightsmith, how you doing?
Lightsmith, can you hear us? He's probably on the stream.
I can hear you. I'm back.
Awesome.
Welcome back.
Welcome.
Yeah, I was here last week.
Hell
Good
yeah.
first caller you had there, Mr. Expendable. He actually was. You guys were just talking about engineering. So I did a quick click, and it was 3 months ago. They did the ISC on what did they call it? It was just on resource management. And Torsen was on there, and he did mention there that they were shooting for engineering at about the halfway point of 2024, so Q2.
Yeah.
So, and I mean, and that seems kind of reasonable. We know 323. They even said they're shooting for the mini maps, and they said, well, we got to go through every ship. Imagine they need the mini maps done before engineering and all that work.
That's a good point as well, right? If
Yeah,
we don't have
they
the mini
mentioned
maps
that
for
at
every
CitizenCon,
ship,
right?
we're probably not getting engineering for every ship. And again,
Yeah.
it's got to come in Arena Commander first, because that's what they just talked about last week.
Yeah.
So,
Yeah,
there was a mention
they're
of it
gonna
last
wanna,
week.
Yeah, they're going to want to test it out in pieces. And just like Master Modes, we're probably going to get a handful of ships that have it to begin with.
Yeah.
So, and Croncy, you had mentioned when you were talking about the Idris and when that's coming out. It was at CitizenCon during the Talking Ship segment, their YouTube video. It starts
Like
at around
last
the
year?
34-minute mark. Yeah, this recent CitizenCon at
Oh,
the 34-minute mark
them
of that
talking
video.
about this.
Yeah, they actually said specifically all 3 versions of the Idris will be coming with Squadron 42. But you do raise a good question, is if I doubt that means we're getting Squadron 42 anytime soon. I think that means more about the Idris than it does Squadron.
Yeah.
So it does seem a little odd that they're doing a lot of testing with it right now.
I mean, I don't
Yeah,
know
there's
how
gotta be
you
some,
can
but-
have an Idris in the game. Well, maybe I do. How you can have a single Idris in the game and then have an interior and allow people to go on it and not give it to the people who have literally propped up your company for all these years, giving you $1,500+
Yeah.
But
Yeah.
then
I think
you have to realize that every single one of those people will spawn that ship on a server.
Yeah.
And yeah.
I think the only reason that I can think of in my mind right now, because they would also probably make more money if it had released, right? It was just server size. It's still a little bit too small for one of those ships to
Need
be flying
meshing,
around.
you would think, right?
Yeah, meshing or just more people in the server.
Yeah.
But like a lot more.
Yeah, and it also makes me wonder how are they mincing their words when they say it's not releasing? Does that mean for the pledge, the backers, or does that mean for in-game purchasing? Does that mean something new, something else?
Hmm.
So
I don't know.
I mean, I do want the Idris owners to get their Idris, but yeah, if you spawn 6 of those at Seraphim, it's gonna be a problem, I'm sure.
You're
Yeah.
off doing your VLRT like ranking in an Idris, just trying to get your size 10s to kill an Aurora. Good times.
Yeah, that would be a lot. But actually, I was
Railgun
gonna kind
only.
of sideline the conversation.
Yeah, railgun only.
I have a question. I was on the tracker, trying to find something, looking up some videos. I think I've asked one of you in the past about this before, and I haven't heard about this in forever. When are we gonna get orbits?
Like planets orbiting? Bro, I don't think we're ever going to get them.
They haven't mentioned that in who knows.
I think maybe it's. I think it depends if the quantum system has any new backend that will allow them to do it. Because right now the problem is you end up doing like crazy weird calculations and stuff because you start from like if the planets are moving or even the moons are moving, whatever. You leave from here. You're aiming this way. Oops, the moon's now over here by the time you get there, right? So there needs to be things in place to stop that. I imagine they could come up with something that's probably really complex to do it. I also imagine that would create a lot of dev time and probably not achieve the amount of immersion you would get from it. I think would not be worth the dev time for like the amount of gameplay value you get from
Everything's
it. I think. Yeah, exactly. I think everything's fine. We don't need that extra immersion. It'd be kind of cool, but it wouldn't be.
I think it would be
just
more
wouldn't
than kind of cool because think for a second of, well, the trade runs between Hurston and Crusader could get
Yeah.
minuscule in time if the orbits are, fall correctly, right?
Which would be dope too, because like
Yeah.
it means sometimes you would be like, oh, trade from there right now. So good. It's so quick times. We get to move it. So then, prices of stuff start falling, blah, blah, blah.
Yep.
But yeah,
do
I
you
don't think
need
it's
it?
necessary.
No.
Yeah.
Nah, don't need it. It
And they're
would
probably
it would
feeling the
affect a
same
lot
thing.
of things like economy alone. Yeah, the fuel and the time it takes. I mean, someday ArcCorp and Microtech could be pretty close to each other if we ever had orbits.
For me, I always sit here and I decide what hill I'm going to die on. And I will and the hills that when I decide that I will die on a hill, the hill that I will die on should absolutely be a priority for CIG to die on as well in my mind. Should orbits ever be part of the discussion in 2024? No. Because that is absolutely there are 10,000 other things that need to be added to this game before that. So I just ignore it because
I'll also say
it would be cool.
Yeah.
We need other shit for it to be as cool as it could be, I guess.
Yeah. I'll also say from possibly a dev standpoint, as in like all the games that do have like orbits that I'm aware of at least, you're either manually moving yourself, so really easy to program in because that issue that we would have doesn't exist because you just turn, or it's an instant load. And so it's irrelevant. You're just traveling from one point to the next. So
yeah.
Like a teleport.
It's presumably hard to do.
Gotcha. I wasn't sure if you guys had any information. I hadn't been able to pick up on that at all. Just because, like you said, we need economy before we start shortening the distance to cargo trade. The economy,
and for it to know that the distance was shortened, right?
Yeah,
exactly.
I will say someone did just make a
also,
good point of like they could change it between patches, or you could change it between downtimes or something, and just manually have them move. And I don't know if that'd be worth it, but it's just, yeah, if CRG are still looking at that right now, it's a bit weird. I would be looking at the other features are much more important.
It's an interesting
Unless, like I
idea.
said, quantum travel already has that tech built into it, possibly. I don't think it does, but that's where I'd be looking.
Yeah. All right.
Yeah.
Interesting. All right. All right. Well, one last thing, Croncy, I'm with you. I want my little hover trolley, and I also want paints.
Yes.
I'm not saying I don't. Well, I would rather drive it. It's just so weird that we're pushing it.
Mike
Yeah.
actually just wants intercontinental ballistic missiles. That's all he wants to do in Star Citizen.
That's not
But
true.
you're also not. It's not entirely off. We do place where I work, ironically, where I build flight simulators. We do have like electric powered, pushing, like assisted driven, pallet jack types of devices. So
Yeah.
they are real. You
I know, but it's 2024. This is
Yeah,
a
that's
1,000
true.
years in the future. Why am I pushing anything?
Why
Well,
am I
I mean,
doing
to be
anything? I should just be in a simulator my entire life.
That's true.
I
That's
know.
true. I mean, to be fair,
know.
you can only tractor beam one box at a time, but that little trolley seems to hold maybe like 8 or something.
Yeah.
16 SU. That's what it said. It said it on the thing. So
Oh,
Yeah, yeah.
okay.
I think you could stack them too high
Alright.
for
It looks like, yeah,
Whatever.
in one of the images, it looks like they are doing that.
or 8.
Oh,
Yeah,
interesting.
rows of 4 and then too high.
Yeah.
I will be
Um,
one of the ones purchasing the paint pack if there is one.
So will I.
I
Don't
really
get me
hope they
wrong.
do.
So will I. But I just don't want to
I
push
really
it.
hope they do.
And I
Yeah.
want them to make the mule
I hear you.
meaningful too, because then you
Yeah,
have
yeah.
that thing that is like, okay, so what's the mule for? So it's kind of weird.
Yeah, they have that issue of every new ship seems to kind of make older stuff and old vehicles a little irrelevant.
Yeah.
So
Yeah. But all right,
just
let's
put
Oh, go
a
ahead,
size
sorry.
1 gun on the top of the mule. Boom.
No.
All right, size 5.
Size
A
5 it is,
ballistic
yeah.
intercontinental ballistic missile. There we go. Now we're
On
good.
top of the wall. There we go.
Yes.
But it's for defense only. Defense only.
Yeah. All right, Lightsmiths, we'll let you go though. Thank you for your call. I appreciate it. It was fun.
Yeah.
And
cheers.
Thanks for having me. Always a
enjoy
good
making
time.
flight sims, man. One day I'll get one. That's my goal. One day I'm
Yeah.
gonna get a
It's a lot of
nice
fun.
sim pit.
It's
Oh,
not
yeah.
as fun as you think it is. It is
No.
work.
No work is as fun as anybody thinks it is. So
That's true.
it's always work. All right, we'll catch you later, guys.
Cheers.
Later.
Guy, I should say. But all right, our next caller is Gunberg. And we might get to you, SPKer, but we'll see how long this one goes. Because 3 has
How you doing,
kind of
Gun?
been our limit. So what's up, Gun?
Gentlemen, good morning and good afternoon.
Good
Howdy.
morning and good afternoon to you. How's it going?
Pardon the jitters. I've had way too much coffee this morning.
All good?
All good.
What do you want to talk about?
I've got a list,
Wait,
much like
Everyone's come with a list.
it's,
Everyone's
it's
bringing
a
that at
thing.
work.
I thought I was going to be alone, but I guess just to keep the conversation fresh, the mule is a big sticking point with me in terms of gameplay design and how CIG is treating both their vehicles and their, I guess, the what they intend to sell and how they intend to sell them.
Bring it. I don't
Cool.
think they give a shit about the game when they go to sell things. I think they just want to sell you an idea and then they can fix it later in their minds.
Yeah, I know it's kind of sad, and when you think about that, but like as soon as, so correct me if I'm wrong because my memory is a little fuzzy on this. When the mule came out, SCU boxes did not exist yet. It was just hand carry, right?
They
Well, we still had
existed.
one SCUs, but only one
Right.
SCUs at the time.
And we didn't have tractor beams or anything like that.
Not in the way
we
that
had
we do
we had
now.
hand tractor beams. We had the small ones. Yeah.
Not
Did
in the
we?
way that we do now.
Yeah.
Yeah, you couldn't like take
Okay.
them and use them to attach them to a cargo grid or anything. Like the 1 SCU containers of
Yeah, it didn't have a cargo grid yet.
yeah. Like
Okay,
we did
'cause
not have
I
the
seem to
cargo
remember-
refactor.
Yes.
Yeah, because like I remember the one big selling point of that was when people were doing the 1 SCU box missions, collecting a bunch of them at once and then having to drop them off one at a time was a big pain in the butt. So being able to load up like 6 of them onto this vehicle and bring them with you was a big plus.
Ah, that's
You mean
the
the
one.
eighth, the like
yeah,
one
the 1/8.
eighth
Yeah, the
SCU
ones
Yeah.
they put up on
Yeah,
the
yeah.
side, right? Yeah.
Yeah, and then not long after they released the mule, I think those particular cargo missions were bugged for a very long time.
Yep. Maybe still are.
Yeah, maybe still are. So yeah, with the advent of the tractor beams, both of them, the cargo grids, now this new little mobile pallet jack. It seems like they just keep making the mule less and less relevant. Now it's a slow rolling vehicle with limited visibility. You can't really justify moving big containers with it when you can just point and shoot a beam gun at something.
No interior as well, right?
Yeah, it's just a little cockpit, which I get,
Hmm.
but just like any other ship, you have to wait for the full animation just to get into something so simple.
Yeah,
I
it needs to
just
have
mean
some
no
sort of benefit
atmosphere,
other
by the
than
way.
yeah, yeah.
Yeah, I think that's right. Yeah.
Yeah, it needs to have some sort of benefit other than just being able to go fast with the boxes, because that's not enough anymore.
The front doesn't do anything.
yeah.
What's the point of the front?
Yeah,
And then
exactly.
they,
Like
and
that
then
doesn't
they
do anything.
designed it like it looked like a forklift, but forklifts go way above the range of what the height of the cockpit is. This thing doesn't
It's
even go
still
towards the cockpit.
well, it still might because the wording of the way that they described it is that it is using like tractor beam technology, so it still
So
may be able
hopefully
to
we
move that.
can manipulate a
Yeah,
box. Okay.
but that still
Yeah.
wouldn't be enough, in my opinion, to make it worth it because
Tractor beam is easier.
tractor beams do it already, right? Like
Yeah.
that's already
I,
its use case.
I
So
was I was kind of hoping with the design of that vehicle, maybe they could tweak it a little bit, and I was hoping that before we would ever see something like this mobile pallet jack, that the mule would fit that purpose. Like maybe you'd
mhm.
have a floating pallet jack, but you yourself can't get out and physically push it. You'd need a machine to do that.
Yeah,
Yeah, like
and
a
it would
mule,
make sense.
you could just attach it to the back of a mule and ride the mule around with
Yeah.
the little like when you go to an airport and all your bags are on that little vehicle that pulls the
Yeah,
thing, something
Exactly.
like that maybe.
and it would make sense within there because like you're presumably you're going to be doing a fair amount of walking around in these distribution centers, especially when eventually, not in 323, they bring in like the full underground that they're still working on and still doing some concepting and stuff of. Um, in that case, yeah, like a mule would be much better than the walking speed of that trolley, for sure. So if you were able to carry enough boxes and do that travel, it would have a use.
Yeah. All right. I mean, I could see that
So
with the.
I guess
I'm
to
just
keep
looking at the vehicle or
Yeah.
the prongs at the front. I could see it manipulating.
Yeah. So the
things.
idea is
yeah
that it's supposed to be like a tractor beam that works. I don't know. I don't know how
Yeah.
they
you
think it
have
works.
the tractor pistol, the rifle, and then you could think, all right, well, something large enough to maybe lift the giant like tractor trailer size cargo containers. You would take
Yeah.
a machine that needed to be hauled around on the back of a vehicle like that.
It's got 6 wheels. It looks
Yeah.
rugged. It looks like it's got some pulling power.
It does. I will say, I don't think it's out of their mind. I do think it's on their mind, rather. Is probably the better way of saying that. Because they did put a picture of it in the extremely early pre-concept base building presentation from CitizenCon.
It was
The
also
mule
at
was
the
there.
freight elevator sneak preview
Yeah,
Yep.
a couple weeks ago.
it keeps playing
So
cameo in all these
Yeah.
videos.
yeah, so there may be something coming for it sooner than we think. Yeah, I don't know.
Yeah, we'll see. But that's like crazy off topic. Do you have anything like related
Yeah.
to this week?
Actually, yeah, the live Q&A that you looked at yesterday, I just
Mhm.
saw that this morning.
Okay.
Free look interactions. That was one of the things that was a sticking point with me because I just recently got the Track IR system as well as bought the voice attack program,
Mhm.
and I can't live without them now.
Yeah, it's
Yeah.
awesome.
Um,
It's awesome.
the user interface on most ships I find to be exceedingly cumbersome.
Mhm.
The screen positioning, if you don't have Track IR, is ridiculous, whether it be just completely out of your view or your armor or arms are blocking things. It's like I don't get what they were thinking there. But to think that if you just moved your head, now you automatically get nothing but pop-ups for interactions all the time. I just think that's way too much visual noise.
I can't say I agree. I think it's like if I am looking at a control, I want to know what that control does 9 times out of 10. So I don't think it'll be too much of an issue. I mean, once again, that's a thing that they mentioned in SL, not coming in 323, right? We're still essentially going to be using
Yeah.
zoom in, hold F, blah blah blah. Yeah, I don't know. I can see why you might be concerned, but that's certainly a wait and see until they talk about it a bit more in depth when it comes in the future. I don't see it being a problem.
Yeah,
See,
I
the
don't
other
have
thing
anything
from
to
the
add.
how about grappling onto a ship?
I hope so,
Yep.
but they didn't say we would be able to. They said it would launch you away.
Right. So
So
that
you want to be able to, because that's insane.
well, no, to me that is a window for gameplay to me.
Well,
So
I just will clarify. They
everything.
didn't say it's not possible. They said the G forces will happen to you, just like as it would happen to someone on the ship. So if they fly around maniacally enough, then yeah, you'll get
right,
knocked out and fall off. But otherwise,
which
you will be grappled onto it.
right, which makes sense to me. Like you have to
Yeah.
have trade-offs. But like to me, like I wish, and I know they can only say so much, and they only have so much visibility within the company and
Yeah.
designs and all that. But like to me, that would be a nice little window for gameplay, for like skill centric gameplay. Like say, okay, grapples they're energy based, so maybe you can only grapple onto a hull if either the shields are down or you are physically past the shields.
Sure. I mean, it's certainly something that they could look into when they do armor and or when they look into more utility weapons.
And then if
Yeah.
you're worried about the torque, you could say, okay, well now there's the skill aspect of it, where if the ship pulls away, the person that's got the grapple has to say maintain target onto the grapple point and maybe engage like a more powerful mode to the grapple, which will expend battery faster than it normally would just to hold on.
Oh yeah, like that's all sort of stuff that they could do for the theory crafting, but I don't think it really says much about what they were talking about in the SCL. Because all they were sort of mentioning was just like, yeah, if you right now try to grapple onto a ship using these mechanics, well, it's not even right now, once again, not in 323, just said it 80 billion
No,
times in the SCL.
very true.
Uh, that if you do try to like stay on someone's ship, it's going to be the regular mechanics that are going to knock you out and let you go. And for now, that is completely fine. I think what you are describing sounds like an incredibly fun mechanic. That very similar to echo something that Mike said earlier in this podcast. It's just not a priority, and it's not a hill to die on yet.
It can't be.
Yeah.
I know, like there's an avenue for gameplay literally in anything you could possibly talk about.
Yeah.
Right. And it's like, what do we want these guys to focus on? And I think we as a community sometimes get so worked up on what we might consider a priority, but you got to think of from their perspective what should be a priority. And I'm not sure grappling hooks should really be there when you have options to board ships currently, right? So just board them in the way that with the options that they've given you until we get to a place where like there's a large amount of the game there already, and then it's like, let's do something cool, grappling hooks, you know what I mean? And then I'm cool with that kind of stuff. But
yeah, like I am all for your idea. I just I don't
Same.
think it's. I think it's a. Let's see what they do first. Let's see what holding onto a ship at all looks like first, which is once again not even in 320.
yeah, I mean, like you could technically grapple now. It's
Yeah.
definitely a thing. It's just doesn't, because the ship can move so much faster than your grapple can hold. I don't know what more. Like we could carry a 32-ton box with that, but we can't grapple ourselves to it. So I don't know.
Do you think, because obviously we have ammo now for weapons, do you think that they would want to implement expendable batteries when they really try to push for the cargo refactor and everything?
How long have you been a backer for?
Since
It's relevant.
15.
In around that time when 2.0 released, that's how lasers worked. You actually had to go to a thing on the wall and you put your gun into it and it recharged the battery of your laser gun. So it was always like part of their initial design, but I think that they went a different direction with just essentially what you are using is batteries.
Right, but they do have batteries in the game. Like you can buy them.
Yeah, that's what I was gonna say.
For your multi-tool, yeah.
Yeah, so the multi-tool, it might be it might become a thing again. Otherwise, it's just a relic of like old tech where batteries are a thing. And I wouldn't be surprised the way that CRG have worked with weapons, with utility, all that sort of stuff. Wouldn't be surprised if some type of battery exists for these weapons. Yeah, just in general. Hell, I wouldn't even be surprised if they start introducing things like the power triangle in some aspect to some of these utility weapons.
Just to be
Yeah.
clear, what I was saying is like for let's use like the laser pistol for example. Those they would look like a traditional magazine for a pistol, probably just for animation's sake. But think about how physical ammo works, right? You would have to manually reload it. Well, these you would just charge up, and it would be a battery. It would just you would charge them at a battery station on your ship, or maybe place them on your suit, and they would recharge. There's all sorts of options that they can do that would drain your suit battery or something like that, right? So there's reload options that they have spoken about. Specifically, that suit one, I remember them saying, and all those are options. But again, we're not talking about 323, and we're bringing up a number of stuff that just should not be a priority today, because what we have is more than fine, I would say, when it comes to lasers versus pistols and things like that. But that's just my opinion. I'm not knocking yours or whatever at all, just so that's very, very clear. I'll never knock
I get it.
anybody's opinion about the game ever, about anything.
No,
Unless
to me, I think
you think
like
there should be a PvP slider or
323
something.
cargo missions. It's like, okay, yeah, 323 cargo missions.
Yeah, and
You know,
we're all
we're
sitting
moving
here just like
boxes around.
twiddling our thumbs waiting to see what everything actually feels like, right? We could sit here and speculate
Yeah.
all day, but yeah, I don't know. Gun, just because I'd like to get in our last caller, is there any like
all good.
final thing that you want to chat about? I want to give you your time, of course, but
No, that's pretty much it. I mean, I could gripe about the Idris and my love-hate relationship with it, but that'll take forever.
we'll see. I mean, did you like some of the interior looks of it and stuff like that?
I do. I
Cool.
appreciate it. I think one of my, I'm definitely concerned about the health of the servers when they try to spawn them in, and everybody who's backed for them suddenly spawning them. That is definitely a legitimate concern.
Yeah.
Yep.
I guess in terms of piloting them, that's been a sticking point with me, that I've always been kind of curious as to how CIG will approach with very large ships, because my like Star Trek-esque brain does not want to see people flying ships like that around the same way that they would a fighter with just stick and throttle.
I've heard people have the same concerns, but like the way that you pilot a cruise ship and like in real life is
with a stick.
inherently extremely similar to the way that you'll pilot a regular boat. It's got it gets more complex, but it is essentially the same idea. And then, especially for gameplay, I think it's important just to make it the same. My concern with it is if it becomes too boring. Because if you're in anything other than, like, if you're in either of the Idrises that don't have the size 10, because I don't remember which one's which, you are going to be bored, because you are not going to be doing much travel at all. And you're going to be sitting there going like, all right, I've quantum traveled. It's probably too late for me to go run around to the turrets now.
Yeah, but you're the captain of an Idris.
The captain's not going to be piloting it.
Oh,
what are you
true.
talking about, Mike? They
I
might.
That's the
I mean,
other thing.
it's a video
fine.
game. They
You're
might.
piloting an Idris. Still kind of cool. Big ass ship. Right?
But yeah.
I don't like to be the pilot of the big ships. I like to be turret gunners or whatever. But
Same.
yeah,
Same.
that's just my preference. But
Yep.
all right, Gunberg. We'll let you go,
All right, guys.
and we appreciate
Yeah,
your
thanks for
call, and we hope to hear from you soon, and with some good 323 news, hopefully.
Yeah, when they announce all those mechanics next week for the upcoming patch, it's gonna be great to have you back on.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, I'm waiting on Jared's bated breath.
Yeah. All right, man. We'll catch you soon.
Cheers, mate.
All right, take it easy.
Bye now. All right, and we'll bring in our final caller for today.
Sounds good.
Which just got here. Okay, it was a
How
very
you doing,
delayed.
SPK?
Hey, guys,
SPKer. What's up,
Yeah,
man?
we can hear.
Hey, man. So there's a lot I'm excited for with this patch. Hey? I mean, from item bank to the new star map and stuff. But I think one of the things I'm focused most on is the distribution centers and kind of how that's going to affect group play.
Yeah.
Um, Mostly because I'm a big PvP guy, as you might have guessed by the name and stuff. But
Yeah.
pretty much our day to day is either we take over SPK or we go hold Brios, or you're running kind of like a blockade, like a Mantis blockade, just between buy and sell points.
Yeah,
And
yeah.
I think distribution centers are going to be like a big kind of next thing for us to do, not just in terms of the contracts, but in terms of, I don't want to say taking them over, but do you know what I mean? Like a new
Yeah.
land grab, a new territory to kind of like for people to host business on both the lawful and non-lawful side of things. So like the security will have kind of like maybe a local distribution, like whether it be Microtech or Crusader Center, that like they're helping and kind of keeping, helping the NPC security, so that way their boys running cargo can come in and deliver and stuff. And I think like the potential beyond contracts, and I think almost even beyond Star Citizens NPCs at the moment, currently, anyways. There's just so much potential there for like that more sandbox interactive gameplay, and like I kind of wonder what you guys think about with that, running larger orgs and larger events and stuff, and how that might become our more day-to-day thing we do in terms of like just going to the distribution center and keeping it safe or raiding it, and how that's going to affect basically life in the verse.
I think it'll be way worse than SPK currently in 323, because I don't think we'll have an SPK type mission in 323, because they talked about raids, right? What you're looking for is raids, because then raids probably have one side and another side to it, right? The person who's raiding and the person who gets the service beacon in lore in the game to go and help prevent the raid or stop it from happening, or end the current occupation of it. So that's my expectation for it, because that's what SPK is. SPK is like the SPK mission design is a raid, right? You went there, you took down a bunch of guards, you got the big guard, and then all of a sudden you start stealing all their stuff. So it's the same concept, but just huge scale, right? So I don't think we see it in 323. So whatever you're doing, you're probably going to be RPing, faking it, being annoying to some people and being awesome to others, and
I think that's more what I mean as well, like in the sense of, because I understand the raid potential, but more in the sense of because like me and my boys, we call Star Citizen DayZ in space or Starkov, and a lot of it is about trying to have that just really dynamic, emergent gameplay with players. And when we do SPK, like when we run SPK, we'll let people in, but we'll also, some of us will be running CS to kind of encourage the hunters to come for us, because I think it facilitates great FPS, because you can't be nuked by an A2. There's lots of ins and outs, so it's always varied from the EVA to the multi-level combat inside. It can be varied, but I think more because they were kind of trying to pitch it as a social hub as well. And that's another thing, is that I think it's kind of one of the first, outside of what settlements are trying to be, and maybe Patch City, what Patch City was in Pyro. It's one of the first no armistice locations we're going to have as a social hub. So I think like that, it'll almost facilitate larger orgs to maybe like, hey, we don't know what we're going to do yet today. Let's all go to our local distribution, just set up there, maybe from that RP stance, but from the sense of it's just another place to go where you're going to bump into people. Kind of like what Pyro was, kind of like what I think we all want settlements to be. But I don't know, when we try to run settlements,
nobody cares.
It's a lot less traffic,
there.
Yeah.
So I think that problem's still going to happen. So first off, these are essentially quest hubs, right? And wherever there are quest hubs, you will inevitably have lots of people. When you have lots of people, you have exactly what you're talking about. You have that emergent gameplay, which is fantastic. In 323, they've already mentioned that there's going to be multiple of these locations. It seems like there's going to be 4. I would assume, one per planetary system, with more coming in the future. Which I think means most likely, because we also aren't going to have raids here in 323. Yes, there will be multiple people there, but they're going to be doing different missions, which means your emerging gameplay, it'll be probably not what you're thinking. It'll be like I'm trying to think. What all of us want, really, or at least what I want, is eventually one of those locations may become a little bit more lucrative than another. right? So maybe the Hurston one, maybe it's really easy to rebuild Hurston rep, or really easy to, I just get more money from trading from the Hurston one of these locations.
Mm.
That is 100% where everything that you just said happens. 100%. That's going to be the awesome place where every time I'm going there, I'm crewing up with a bunch of people. I'm probably going to meet a bunch of people doing other missions there. So I think these locations will facilitate it, but I don't think it's going to be every location is going to facilitate it. And certainly in 323, I think it's still going to be more likely that you'll have those encounters in places like Ghost Hollow and SPK.
My biggest question
For now.
My biggest question is yeah, we didn't see a lot of Armistice Zone in the video content that they showed, which is never something to go completely 100% off of. Are we fully 100% convinced that there will be no Armistice Zones at all of these locations? There might be one that is a social hub that's full Armistice, you know?
Yeah, 'cause my vibe was, well, I guess I was kind of hoping that this was, I don't know, maybe part of their trials towards removing Armistice, like moving more towards
Yeah, but we all know they
NPC
can't.
secured locations.
We know they can't because the NPCs were standing still and staring at them in their own videos, let alone how it's going to act for us, right? So we know they can't quite do that
exactly.
yet. But we all are hoping. We're all hoping for it, obviously, right?
Yeah.
This is a big part of why I think we try to see the PvP and the player interactive potential for every one of these situations. And,
Yeah.
But yeah, how well it will facilitate it, I don't know. I'm excited either way. For whatever
same.
comes.
Same.
I think the other big thing is probably just the Mobigus and the star map, and I think this is just so overdue. And I've got a lot of mates into the game as well, like recently, and I think that's still like
Big
you know,
point
they're
of
all great
contention for them.
gamers, but it's the biggest hurdle. Yeah, I'm just like, because they're asking me, they're like, "What am I doing wrong?" And I'm trying to explain, like, it's not you, man. Like, you just gotta. But luckily, they're all Daisiers and they're Tarkovers, so like,
So
I don't know,
they're
they're kind
used
of
to
vets to broken game. Yeah, man.
Yeah.
Like they actually they genuinely hardly see the issues over just how much. I don't know. I think we've been playing DayZ for 10 years, man. Tarkov for like 6, and it's not only nice to have everyone on something new, but it really is so big. It's just so it's so much. It's genuinely got a lot of, I don't know, what we get from other sandbox games anyways, and a lot more. And then I think it's just like a whole crap ton of quality of life and stability that.
I mean, the only thing that makes it not DayZ and not Tarkov is anything you loot doesn't matter in comparison to the things that you loot in Tarkov and DayZ. Like, man, you open a body and you're like, oh my god, this guy's stacked. Like, you don't get to say that in this game yet. I cannot wait for the day that you down a player, loot their body, and you are so hyped with what you found. That is such a rare experience right now.
How do you think that's going to be affected by the item bank? Because, like I said, I'm one for, I always wear my best stuff. I want to die in cool loot. You know what I mean? I want to be cool loot for whoever kills me. I want to be sick loot. But I think it's like we have that dipping issue that I've heard you talk about, but we're also going to have potentially more of this in the loot pool. But then I think it might just get boring quick because everyone will have the same sick stuff.
Yeah, but it's also
until there's unique items, it doesn't matter.
Yeah, it's also only sick because it is visually sick. But like those guns and items and attachments and things in DayZ and Tarkov are sick because they're better. And you don't have better yet in the PU. Yet. They keep talking about this armor, bro, and what they want to do with armor. Then we're talking about better. And if they apply that to guns too,
the economy guys.
Nah, I think it comes with the armor people. The economy guys will have an effect on it.
Things like removing military components from stores, that way we have to salvage, loot them into our ship, take them back to our freight elevators to install them. Like that way, when you and then I guess in combination with but now we're going to future because insurance and item recovery and all that stuff.
We just don't know
infinite stuff right now. And
that's totally fine for the alpha. Give everybody their stuff back. Who cares? Just have a new solution later on. That's all, like a better one. The current solution just should be temporary, but and
I'm happy to have less gear fear. Do you know what I mean? I think I hope they make the item bank cost something. I hope if I'm gonna go get my favorite black Arden gear from the item bank, it's gonna cost me 20k for the set or something like that, or even maybe more than that would to buy the default or something.
God, we're
Yeah.
gonna be looting so much gold armor.
Oh, true. I don't
I
even
want-
have to get to Space Marshal anymore.
Nope.
Yep. I want Gear Fear at some point in Star Citizen to be at a point that it's like in between Tarkov and like, I don't know, a smaller game that I can't think of. Like I want it to be to the point where I feel bad that I've lost a thing, and like I am noticeably depowered by it, but I'm not going to turn off the game because of it. You know what I mean? Like I want
Yeah.
I want there to be a case where maybe I've lost a P4 that's got like an extended mag and a rare sight. All right, cool. That sucks. I can still go get a regular P4, and I am worse off straight up, and I've lost this awesome thing. But it doesn't make me want to stop playing because I think Star Citizen already does, and will have a much larger casual community, and there needs to be some level of catering towards that.
True.
But
yeah, I'll give you
but
that.
still bring the excitement and the risk that comes with other things.
Very curious
like
to
I
see what they
said,
do with this stuff.
Yeah.
I love PvEs because that's, like, they always end up like our crafters, and like we all become like invaluable to
Yeah.
each other in other ways, and we're their escorts and
Mhm.
stuff
That's
like
my
that. So I
dream.
do
I want to be
genuinely
valuable to
everyone to be
PvPers.
happy.
I want to be the
And-
crafter
oh,
that's
it's a-
valuable to PvPers. That's always what I
yeah.
wanted to do.
Well,
in this
you
game.
won't ever be that crafter, Mike. Don't worry.
True. True.
there was one more thing.
I'll just be complaining about something somewhere, and nobody will be listening. I'll be yelling at gas clouds instead of yelling at clouds.
There was one more thing, SPK, that I just thought of before about the original point with the buildings, the distribution centers. There will, for sure, at the very least, be one amazing element that I think is going to happen in 323, which is you are naturally going to have a lot more bounty v pirates action at just like most locations, because it'll be easier and people will be more incentivized to do it. Because if I go to a distribution center and I'm doing like a mercenary mission, and then I hear a bunch of gunshots on the other side of the other side of the center, well, cool, let me check bounties. Hey, they've got bounties. I'm here. Let's do some FPS, right? So I think
Bounty Hunter
that's
V2, by the way.
I mean, I hope so.
Bounty Hunter V2, what happened? Maybe that's a 324 thing.
Maybe.
I was gonna say, I think that's the other. I mean, that is going to be part of distribution centers evolution. I think.
Yeah.
As well as I kind of feel like what raids are just going to be like the big box version of kind of what we're going to get a taste of with the smaller warehouses now, perhaps. Like, or that's what I wanted to ask. Or do you think raids are going to be instants? Because that's what I'm hearing serialized a lot, but I don't.
I don't think they'll be instants.
No, because I think they
feel
want
like
you to
you don't
be
think
fought
it'll be
against.
like a
yeah.
big instant hangar area. So okay, no, I've just seen that, I don't know, discussed a lot in terms of raids, and I did kind of think people were looking too much into it, comparing it to WoW.
They probably are.
Yeah. I think of it more like Sea of Thieves, like raids, where it's more, you're still in the universe, you're still alive to everyone. It's just you're going and doing a specific bit of like end game PvE content.
No, but that's the best part, isn't it? The seamless, integrated nature of it all, and the yeah. No, that's beautiful.
Anything else,
No,
SPK, before we let you go, or?
Okay, yeah. I suppose since you'll let me,
yeah, of course.
Oh, I don't know. I just have, I think, just I don't want to say concerns of master modes, but just like I don't know. I'm still so skeptical about master modes. Like we've been playing it a lot. We're trying to learn to love it, but I just feel like I don't want to say it's like killing. I feel like it's lowering the skill ceiling indeed, but I feel like it's kind of not necessarily lowering the skill floor at the same time, in the sense of because Taylor, I play this with my girlfriend a lot, right? And like she flies a Talon, mostly because it allows her to stay distant with the missiles and then come in for strikes and stuff. And as much as I know that I wouldn't say she's jousty. She does try to brawl, you know what I mean? And then I'm an arrow guy, so I'm a knife fighter, a brawler. But what I'm getting at is I feel like master modes is kind of killing flight and combat diversity, in the sense of like it's kind of forcing fights into knife fights, which which I am okay with, because I'm not bad at knife fighting and brawling. But in the sense of like, again, for her who is less into brawling, do you know what I mean? She's like a little more out of the fight and stuff like that. And I wonder, like,
I wish I could
I don't
speak
know.
more on
Do
it.
you think?
I don't know anything about master modes. I've barely.
Yeah, I
been
know a
into it.
bit. I will just say, like, yeah, it does feel like the ceiling is lowering. The floor, I definitely think is getting higher. As in, like, anecdotally from people. To be fair, I've been hearing a lot of new players saying they're really enjoying the new master modes. So that is that's a massive benefit, right? If they're enjoying the combat a lot more, fantastic. You don't want it to come at a cost of people, but sometimes there are those sorts of things. However, in terms of the skill ceiling lowering, the biggest thing about master modes that I don't hear a lot of people talking about is the fact that it makes it so much easier once it's fully in to balance things to make skill matter. Once we get, we've got different weapon types that are supposed to be coming in with like the ammo types and stuff,
See what you're
right?
saying? Yeah.
We've got obviously we haven't got the full spectrum of what multi-crew gameplay looks like with master modes still.
True.
Hopefully we get a bit more of that before 323, because all we've got now is essentially we've got a heavy fighter, the Connie, and the hammerhead. I might be missing one, but for the most part, that's all we've got so far. And so 100% be concerned and tell CRG you are concerned. I'm not yet.
I don't know what to think.
Yeah.
Yeah. No. Well, I don't hate it. I like the feel of the brawl. I'm a little less fan of the spread and the suppression, kind of. Do you know what I mean? I was a fan of like the more precision aim, and like I kind of wish
Okay,
they
well,
just.
did you see the patch they did this week then on the PTU? They took they lowered the nudging, and I remember the bullet nudging was something that took me from being absolute trash to be able to be second place in the fight or flight tournament. The like nudging came in right around that time, and that saved my life.
But oh, okay. Well, that's what I mean. Like I wasn't having trouble with master modes. Like if anything, I feel like master modes is easier. Do you know what I mean? I feel like it's a lot.
Yeah, no, and that's
agreed.
what I'm
but
saying.
I think when you pull the nudging away, now you actually have to aim.
True.
Like you need to have better aim. So check out the more recent PTUs and see what you think. If you haven't yet,
I'm gonna spend more time with it.
Yeah, because it was just like in the last two they made that change.
Yeah. Also, some of your concerns may be taken away next week. Next week, ISC is about master modes and precision targeting mode, and that could make all the difference. Who knows, right? There's still a big element of the new flight model that doesn't exist yet, and we haven't gotten to test yet.
Yeah,
very true. I think a big part of my concerns as I came from like camp scam citizen, basically, like 8 years of Elite Dangerous. I was 100% sure that Elite was the game. Do you know what I mean?
So what was your screen name before? I got to know your screen name before you changed it to a Star Citizen.
It was actually Pure Marksman, just because I started on Xbox, and that's been my gamer tag since Halo 2.
Gotcha.
Love it.
Well, since 360, but the name I've run since, like, to be honest, Gary's mod and stuff. But,
gotcha.
Nice.
Yeah, no, I made it like.
I thought it was like Commander, Commander Care Bear or something. You know, like everybody comes over from. Everybody comes over with those names.
I was a filthy Fer-de-Lance gang in Elite, so like, I don't know. I didn't go necessarily. I just loved it for the flight sim, and a big reason why I came over to SC was because it was this, in my opinion, this beautiful hybrid between kind of Elite and Squadrons and DCS in terms of like, I'm a big fan of the speed and the complex vector management and kind of, like I'm feeling like my ship's not only demanding a lot out of me, but then also like the physics is. It was the most spacey spaceships I had ever flown. Like probably alongside maybe Space Engineers. I think it's like honestly maybe Space Engineers and SC in terms of the only multiplayer games that I can think of playing with a crew where like it feels like a real spaceship, you know what I mean? And like I think I'm also scared of losing that and getting this magical physics restriction imposed onto our thrust, kind of, because that's how elites run as well. Like you in Elite, I'd never flown past for 8 years. I'd never flown past like 600 ms or maybe 750 in a Courier. But point is, then I came over and got my first Arrow package when I came to Star Citizen. Well, actually, I started on a free flight, but flew an Arrow, went 1,200 meters per second for the first time, did some low flying and stuff with like my boy who conned me in, who I met on Elite, and like my life changed that day when I moved that fast for the first time, and then everything since has just been, I don't know, such a ride. And then I also thought I imagined a world of engineering and tuning where like imagine like the guy who invented the Epstein drive and the Expanse. Like I imagine me like
Yeah.
tuning my arrow, the G's on my arrows like so high where I press W or forward on my VKBs and I just kill myself. I just black out and
I'm
While that's-
overdosing on like copium through Discord. Where I can't.
like I wanted that unlimited potential where the restrictions on the ship was going to be like the G's of the human body, and like if I'm moving at like maybe G's and accelerations that they don't like I'm literally breaking my ship apart and like restrict it in
Well,
that
when
way.
did they ever tell
Rather
you
than
that
this
any
is
of this
none
was
of
going to be a thing?
I don't know,
Where
but
is
it's
this
like that's
coming
how I want
from?
my. That's
Well,
how because I can move 1,200 meters per second right
And
now, and I
well,
like
you still
that. And if
can.
you, and
You
if
still
you-
can, just
yeah,
not in combat mode.
Yeah,
Yeah.
but you know what I
Just not
mean. But
combat
if you
mode.
want
Like-
to limit that restriction, I wish they did it in a way like that, where like it wasn't like a physical, it wasn't like a magical like you slow down now. It was like you can't do that because you will like kill yourself or something. You know, I don't know. Like
Yeah.
I understand it. It's like, yeah, you want a more complex system. You want a more complex system. That sounds fantastic. It sounds sick. I genuinely think that would be such a bad move of CIG to do. I think that would be such an overcomplication of the mechanics. Not to say that master modes might be the right choice, but if they were to move more in that direction, I think it would. People wouldn't want to fly. There would be so many people that just would not want to fly. It'd be too much.
Do you know what? And I think there's like a nice middle ground that they will find in there.
Hopefully.
Yeah.
Because I think even things like maybe when you drop to, like from SCM into nav mode, so when you jump, we'll say from SCM into nav mode,
Mhm.
and they take the shields, like maybe you still have the weapons, but you have no recharge capacity because all your charge is in the engine, or just something where it's like, I don't know, there's still that strike potential for those really ganky vessels, like mostly just the Eclipse and the Talons and stuff like that. But
Well, those two, not the Talon, but in the Eclipse example, they just need to make stealth an actual thing.
touche. Touche. What have they got themselves into now?
Yeah.
Okay, I like it. Yeah.
But all right. I mean, I guess we're coming up on the 2-hour mark, so that's usually where we'd like to cut it off. So I'm gonna cut you off,
cheers for your time.
SPK. But yeah, it was a good chat. And
Yeah, it was awesome call.
The master mode's such a weird thing. I think we just need all the ships in and rip
I'm
the
in love
Band-Aid off
and
and
feedback.
figure it out from
Yeah.
there.
Yep.
As bad as that sounds, because it doesn't sound like
As long
it's
as
going to be
as long
very
as it
fun.
works. As long as it's
I
a feature
don't
that works.
I don't know. But yeah, thank you for calling, and we look forward to hearing more from you. Maybe next week after
100%.
after the ISC. How about that?
True.
We'll pin you in
Well,
for
my
next
opinions
week.
change.
All right.
Thank you so much, boys, for your time. Yeah, thank you very much. Croncy,
Anytime.
SaltEMike.
Yeah,
Catch
cheers,
you
mate.
soon.
Thank you very much.
All right. That was it.
Mm-hmm.
That was it. All of our callers are done, and our week is over. What are you excited for the most for next week that we are aware of? I'm always excited for this week in Star Citizen. We got a
Can we
roadmap
get like
update
a
next
quiet
week.
week? Can we just get a
Roadmap update.
nothing week?
No.
I'd love to digest. I'd love to be able to digest like
What
any
is
of this
wrong with you?
information.
Are you a content creator? Why would you say that?
Bro, I haven't posted a video since October.
Yeah, what the fuck, by the way? That was my
Oh,
first
don't
curse
worry.
for today.
Oh wow. I've got so much coming for 323, don't worry.
Okay, cool.
No, yeah, ISC, fantastic. Yeah, we should theoretically have a roadmap this week unless something goes wrong.
Mhm.
We already had our monthly report, so some things. I wouldn't be surprised if we get roadmap this week and something gets pushed already, as in pushed out. But I also imagine we're going to hear some news about ships soon because we know nothing about any hulls coming to 323. I also think 322.1 pretty damn. It's just like the servers have been fine. It's just bug fixing, I think, for the most part. So
Well, and they need to get
yeah.
that out of the PTU to get 323 into it. That's typically how that works.
Yeah.
So
pretty much, yeah. So
yeah.
I imagine we may see it next week, if not the week after. Yeah. But yeah, the master modes and the precision targeting mode bit of ISC is going to be really big because it's still a feature that we don't know much about the specifics about, and hopefully we get a bit more of that.
Yeah. All right. We'll see. Somebody's calling freight elevator will get pushed to a future patch. Calling it now. Okay. Yeah, we'll see. That seems like the least likely one, considering it's been worked on since like 2018. But okay. So
Yeah.
that's the one that I think is the one that will likely not be of all of them. So anyway.
Yeah.
We will leave it here. We really appreciate you guys watching the show. I think last week's episode is creeping up on our most watched ever on the new channel.
It's currently, for the time, it's a 1 out of 6.
Yeah.
But it's the views are slowing down, and it needs to beat, I think it was 6.8K from when we had Board Gamer on, and it's at like 6.6.
Yeah.
So it's like it's inching towards it.
So we have like in if we want to like shift that in like a positive way, we have a nice consistent audience on a brand new channel, and it's amazing.
Yeah, it's been awesome.
So thank you so much. If you are new, hit the subscribe button because there's 6,000 views and 2,000 subs. So subscribe. Okay. It doesn't cost you anything. All right. One thing we haven't turned on, and I'm an idiot for it because right now I'm not going to say it. I'm going to save it for next week. Okay. I'm saving it for next week when I actually turn them on.
I don't even know what he's talking about.
Yeah, I'll tell you after, but I'll save it for next week.
Also, let us know. I've just seen a lot of comments about people who want to listen to this in an audio only thing. Just let us know if that is the case in the comments.
Yeah,
because it'd be good to know.
I always shy away from that personally. Or if we are to do that, I would want to post it quite a bit while after it's on YouTube, because we put a lot of effort in putting it onto YouTube, and we just got monetized, and then we would ruin the monetization by doing that. So I don't only do this stuff for money, but at the same time, it's not a small amount of work. So yeah. I've never posted my podcasts on those platforms, but I've always been open to it. I just want to make sure.
And now you've got a co-host who can do the work for you.
We don't cannibalize what we have. Yeah. So
of course, yeah. But if there is enough interest, it's a thing that we'll definitely look at. So
absolutely, won't just look at. We'll do it. Yeah. Just want to do it the right way. So all right, guys. Thank you so much for watching. Again, subscribe. If you guys are watching on Twitch, hit the follow button for both Croncy and I. Right. And then if you haven't caught the whole show, it'll be up on YouTube in like an hour or so, typically after. Mm-hmm. And we'll catch you guys next week. Hopefully something good to say about master modes. I think that's probably going to be the highlight. And hopefully nothing really bad to say about something that fell off the roadmap, like replication layer.
We're definitely going to have a talk, no matter what.
Yeah,
actually, safe to say is going to be good.
For sure. So, as always, don't forget to answer the call.
Answer the call.
Let's go. All right. Goodbye, everyone.